One of the races that shall missing. Number 7 is missing because you, your organization, your dues dollars, sued to take the Religious Freedom Amendment off the ballot the first time around. It was Amendment 7. And the Supreme Court bounced Amendment 7, and they promptly brought it back rewritten as Amendment 8. So religious freedom is back as Amendment 8. The slot for Amendment 7 is now gone. Let me tell you what's on this ballot. Sprinkled in these constitutional amendments are all the red meat, ultra-conservative issues that will pull out their voters. We have an amendment on abortion funding. We have an amendment on what they call religious freedom, which is actually religious funding. This takes the provision out of the Florida Constitution that we use, that you use to file suit against the first Bush voucher plan. And because of the language that was in the state constitution, we were successful. They've been trying to take that language out ever since. This amendment will strip that language out so that now public money can now go uninhibited to private religious schools. That's the goal. How many of you heard of a provision called TABOR, which is supposedly the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights? This is an amendment that is designed to, over time, shrink the size of government to do what they say is drown it in a bathtub. Well, really what they want to do is put a ratchet in place that reduces the ability of government to fund government services, police, fire, and public schools, to get it as low as possible to force it to fail. There are 2 TABOR amendments on here. The very first one on health care services is designed to undermine the Obama health care plan. If the Obama health care plan stands, they want this amendment to pass saying that no law can be passed in Florida to implement it. So if you look at these amendments, they have sprinkled through there lots of little things that are red meat, dog whistle politics items to draw out their base vote. Now they were smart enough to put a couple of things in there that the average person couldn't vote no on, so that we couldn't do a vote no on everything campaign because it's just all bad business. So they put in a couple of things like additional benefits for veterans and additional benefits for the survivors of first responders. The legislature could have done exactly that by statute. They could have done it in Tallahassee. They could already be in place. But they didn't want to do that because they wanted to put it on the ballot to make sure that people had stuff that they would vote yes for. This is a very, and Susan Booker was alluding to that there is a plan, very well-crafted plan, to turn voters out and to make sure that they vote yes on all of the things that will do themselves and probably us a lot of harm. Let's look at the next. Yeah.
Isn't it true that usually if people are going out to vote for something that benefits them, if they vote yes on that, then they just go yes, 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 yes all the way down?
There is kind of a mindset that if you are negative looking at the amendments, you'll vote no on the amendments. If you're positive thinking about the amendments, you'll go down the list and vote yes on amendments. So it's tough. Here's the problem. In counties like Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, where you will have a very long ballot, if the people that we need to go and vote no on these amendments don't make it all the way to the end of the ballot, and only the yes voters, the ultra-conservative voters, go down and vote on the amendments, then they win. We lose. So we have to, we can pull this stuff and it looks like most people will vote no if they understand it, and that's fine. But we have to make sure people actually get to the end and vote no for them. Now we do have the 60% requirement. They have to pass these things by 60%. That's been very helpful the last go around. When they tried to repeal class size amendment, they had to get 60, couldn't get there. But let's go back to local elections and go back to your election efforts, because I know it's getting late and I probably stand between you and the bartender. So we're going to talk just briefly about some of the challenges for Palm Beach CTA. We have got to break. You guys will get an overdose of ads. You will get all the federal ads, all the presidential ads, all the congressional ads. I get no ads in Tallahassee. Nobody spends any money in Tallahassee. I have to go to hotels in Central Florida and turn on the TV and just wait for the ads so that I can watch them, because I love political ads. But you all get an overdose of political ads. You get an overdose of mail. You get more phone calls than you can stand. So it's really hard for you to cut through the noise that all of your members are hearing and make sure they get the right information about the candidates and the issues. It's really hard to cut through the noise. The one thing that you can do that the other side can't is talk person to person. That's the big difference. We've got to connect the dots for members. We've got to make sure that they know who to be angry at. We don't want to be angry at each other. We don't need to be angry at Tallahassee, at FEA, or Lynda Russell because she's not lobbying well enough. You can do that too. But the people to be angry about are the folks that are voting to put this stuff in place. And until we take them out, nothing is going to change. We've got to send us good people. So we've got to connect the dots for people and make sure that we link policy to politics. There is a connection. And many of our members say, I don't want to be involved in politics. They don't have a choice. They're involved in politics every single day, from the minute they get up to the minute they go to bed. It's all politics all the time. Everything that happens in your classroom is a political decision. We have to engage members to remember in November. Joe, let's have the next slide real quick. Our number one goal before we even get to candidates and campaigns, before you even start talking about how you're going to get school board people elected or legislators elected, you've got to turn out your members. You've got to make sure your members vote. We cannot have 1 out of every 5 members not voting. And however you need to do it, calls, direct mail, email, flyers, posters, palm cards, cash, whatever, door to door, whatever we need to do. Next slide, Joe. What can you do? What can you do today, right now, when we gave you, or you got a packet, which is a phenomenal first step. What you're holding in your hands is the difference between people voting and not voting. And that is this whole vote by mail application. One of the hardest things for us is finding out the day after the election that our members didn't vote. Imagine if we knew a week ahead of time how many of our members had voted. We know these things when people vote by mail, and we know these things if they vote early. Now, we can't tell you who they voted for. That's nobody's business but yours. But we know who has actually voted, so we can come back and say, hey, you remember? You committed to vote for candidate, but you haven't turned in your absentee ballot yet, or your mail ballot yet. Or, hey, we're going to have a big party on Thursday of the early vote week, and if everybody shows up, free drink tickets for everybody that shows up with an I voted sticker. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make sure that members get involved, but it is urgent that we make sure that they really vote by mail is a huge piece if we can do it, and that they vote early. Too often we hear people say, I just forgot, I got too busy. Especially in our profession, we don't get to take off an hour during the day and run to the polls to vote and say I'm going to be late coming back from lunch. It doesn't happen that way. You show up at work when the polls open. By the time you get finished, if you've got kids or other stuff to do and you forget, that's it. You don't get another shot. So we have to make sure our members are registered or have turned in an application for voting by mail, or they vote early.
We have a teacher workday that day.
There's you. At the polls, we're going to have all these volunteers at the polls because you have a teacher work day.
It's a teacher work day. They won't let us out of school unless we take a person today, but people can do that. But there's no excuse for them not voting because everybody gets out early on that day.
Well, we want them to vote early so they can work the polls that day for your candidates and get everybody else to vote. So, promote vote by mail. We have got to build excitement around campaign activities. If you take a day to work for your school board candidate, or you dedicate a day or 2 days to the Sachs campaign or to the Abruzzo campaign or to the Shelley or whoever you want to, organize it as a CTA activity and own it. Own it. Do not send your volunteers to the Obama campaign and just say, well, go show up down there and volunteer. Don't do that. Go as a group. Take over their phone bank. Take over their walks. Wear your shirts. Let them know it's you as a group that turned out. People in Tallahassee ask us about Palm Beach and most of the large locals all the time. All the time. What are they going to do in this race? What are they going to do in that race? There's almost a fear and a hope that you're going to, some of the Democrats are fearful and the Republicans are hopeful that you're not going to get organized and you're not going to get active and you're going to stay home. Don't do that to yourselves. Too many people pay attention to what you do to not have a good turnout. We don't want, like I said, 1 in 5 not showing up to vote.
Can I just speak to a point of view?
Certainly.
All of you have the opportunity to pick up flyers. Susie Gerbanek, Boca High School, along with Karen Zaremba. She's the chairperson, Government Relations Committee. Our budget was cut $4,000, but we are going to be throwing a party, and all of you are invited Saturday, July 21st, and we're doing it again Saturday, August 11th. And this is to meet the candidates here in Palm Beach County. So it goes along perfectly with what you're already saying. We're already doing that. We are building excitement. We are having campaign activities. We're inviting all of you to attend. The candidates will be there. And of course, it continues into December. Mark your calendars for Saturday, December 1st, when we are having our 2nd annual legislative cocktail party. It was a huge success last year. We heard about it when we were in Tallahassee. The candidates all raved on how they were welcomed into the CTA building. So please, if you didn't pick up the flyers, do this now, and please plan to attend Saturday, July 21st, Saturday, August the 11th, and of course, Saturday, December 1st. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. And what a great opportunity when you get people lured to a party and they've had a libation or two to get them signed up for a walk. You get them signed up for a phone bank. You get them signed up to help you in your campaign plan. So don't just throw a party. Make sure that everyone that shows up signs up to do something else on that following Saturday or whatever it may be. There are a lot of good ideas. A lot of good ideas come from right here. This packet that you put together is going to see recreation in a lot of other counties. Great, great stuff. Finally, set the example. Please set the example. On the week of early voting, everybody you see in your school, you ought to be saying, have you voted yet? Did you vote yet? I got my I voted sticker. Going to the 3rd State cocktail party with my I voted sticker. Going to get more people signed up. I walked last Saturday, had a great time. Let me show you the pictures. We had 50 people out there, 20 people out there. It was hot as heck. We were sweating like crazy, but it was a lot of fun. Set the example in your schools. Every opportunity you get, have you registered to vote by mail? Got to make sure those votes count. Set the example. You are the leaders. If you don't encourage people to do this and make sure that they understand that elections have consequences for their profession, nobody else is going to do it. The school board isn't going to do it. The principal isn't going to do it. Only you can do it. And make a positive contribution. Make a positive contribution. This is where I was going to interview Shelley, but we've already done that part. She was a positive contribution, and we need you to send some more folks up there. Make it positive down here, folks. You have so much to offer, and you can really make the difference in Tallahassee. I can't stress that enough. Thank you very much. I enjoyed coming down here. Hope I get some help.
A lot of information, good information. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone that spoke today, and the committee will begin, as far as the budget goes, will begin its deliberations for successor budget almost immediately. And I want to thank everyone for their hard work, and I hope to see many of you this summer, and plan on it, because we will be doing some things at CTA, and I'd like to see a lot of you attending, and I look forward to a great year next year as well.